This week, I'm going to do something a bit different, maybe even a bit brave. Let's dig in. So recently I went to a screening of a short film by the Edinburgh band Redolent called Dinny Greet. Dinny Greet is a Scottish term for don't cry. It was a really great short film, and I just thought it was super brave that Robin, the singer, really put himself out there and really revealed his struggle with mental health. The film is essentially about him breaking through his mental health struggles to basically get himself a record deal with his band Redolent. And they ended up getting signed to Columbia Records, one of the biggest record labels in the world. And I just thought it was really, really brave of him to kind of put himself out there, show his struggles, and show how he basically broke through those struggles to become successful. So that kind of inspired me to make this video, which is to talk to you about something that I struggle with, which is something called Imposter Syndrome. So I've struggled with Imposter Syndrome badly for quite a long time. So what is Imposter Syndrome? Well, basically it's a kind of phenomenon where a person has serious doubts in their ability, serious doubts that they are worth their salt in the world, and that they are essentially a fraud, and that they do not celebrate their accomplishments and just think that it's absolute bullshit. It's kind of linked to feelings of perfectionism, which I definitely have, and basically is something that I struggle with on an almost daily basis. So I've been working in music full time for a long time, and I don't always take time out to celebrate the things that I've achieved. And I actually have achieved a lot of stuff, but unfortunately my brain stops me from kind of taking stock of all the good shit I've done and celebrating it and telling the world. And actually what it does is it really holds me back. And it really is a massive demotivator. Essentially, I don't think I'm as far forward in my career as I should be. So I'm going to use this video as a kind of cathartic way to kind of address that, but also just to maybe help some of you guys out there that might be feeling the same thing, because I can't be the only one, right? Now, the problem with imposter syndrome is that it can lead to depression and anxiety, and I definitely have anxiety, and there's a couple of reasons for that as well, which I might pop into later on in the video. But do you know what? I want to just talk to you a little bit about what it is that I do in the career that I've had. My career is kind of broken up into three main sections. My career as a producer, my career as a musician, and my career as a live sound engineer. So my career as a producer has been a bit of a struggle. I have done some amazing things, and the fact that I started off saying that it's a bit of a struggle kind of maybe gives you an insight to where my brain is. I've been making records for about 16 years, and I've had some really, really cool achievements. I've worked with some pretty high profile people. I've had my music feature on national radio, national television. I've made music for the Commonwealth Games. I've had my music feature on TV shows, like several TV shows, including the BBC soap Benidorm. And I've had people on records that I've made that are pretty high profile. So over the years, I've worked with people like Hanson from Squeeze, Mark Stanway from Magnum, Mo Birch from UB40, MC Mad from Groove Armada, Mica Paris, and the actor Idris Elba. And you know what? That's not to be sniffed at, but I don't really take a lot of time out to kind of celebrate those really cool things. I have had a lot of really positive comments from these artists. In fact, if you go on this channel, you'll find a video from Simon Hanson of Squeeze talking about how good I am, how much he liked working with me, and how much of an amazing drum sound I got for him. But again, I don't share that enough. Now let's look at two of these artists, and I'll talk to you about why I don't celebrate them. So Mica Paris. Mica Paris was a really, really big singer in the 90s. She is incredible. I was involved in the mix of a concert that she performed in, which was filmed, and I did all the sort of post-production mixing for it. I never met her. So in my little brain, it didn't really happen. But actually, I did mix that, and it did sound amazing, and I'm really proud of it. But because I never actually met her, because I don't know her, basically, it doesn't happen. Now, the other one I wanted to talk about was Idris Elba. That one's particularly difficult for me. You might not know that he makes music, but he made an album, and there was a song called Tree on it. Now, Tree had a guitar player from a band I was producing, and we ended up doing a reimagination of that song with Idris on it. Now, again, I've never met Idris Elba, but I did produce that song. He was on that song. He loved that song, but unfortunately it was never released. As much as he liked it, his management kind of said it wasn't the right time. He was doing Luther and all that kind of stuff at the time, so it never got released. So because I never met him and it was never released, it never happened in my brain. But you know what? It did happen, because I've got that session on my computer. I know it's there. But for some reason, I have a really hard time talking about that, because it's like I can't prove it because it's unreleased. I can't put it up on the internet. His record label will go nuts. And this is just like one of many things in my sort of production career that, you know, I don't take enough time to celebrate. I have done some amazing stuff. I've had some amazing opportunities. I've worked with some amazing people, and I've always got a lot of amazing compliments. But in my head, I'm not good enough. And the perfectionism side of Imposter Syndrome is where this is all really stemming from. I love people like Chris Lord-Alge, Brendan O'Brien, Andy Wallace, Tom Lord-Alge, like really, really great producers and mixers. And that's where I'm aspiring to, but because I'm not those people, that means I'm not good enough. And that's the problem, because I am good at my job, and yeah, okay, I don't have Grammys, but I do have a lot of really, really cool credits, and I've done a lot of really, really cool things. So what is it about this thing that makes me act like this? And I'm sure, I'm not alone. Now, my career as a musician has taken a really positive turn in the last couple of years. So I now play guitar for a band called The Dogs to More, and I'm also playing in another band called Hot Knives. So Dogs to More have been around for a long time. They have been very successful. They've worked and collaborated with a lot of people that I really, really respect. And I'm playing for that band. But somehow in my head, I'm not good enough. My guitar playing, in my opinion, is adequate. But because I aspire to people like Slash, Nuno Bettencourt, and Joe Satriani, exceptional players with exceptional success, because I'm not that, then I'm not good enough. I went on tour this last weekend, got lots and lots of compliments, came back off tour to lots of great messages, had music reviewer talking about a guitar solo that I did on a track, but I'm still not good enough. And as a live engineer, I've worked with some really, really incredible artists. I've worked with Albert Lee, Kate Taylor, who's the sister of James Taylor and an unbelievable artist, Davey Pattison of the Robin Trower Band, Paul Jones of Manfred Man, Martin Turner of Wishbone Ash, and a whole heap of up-and-coming bands, tribute bands, blues bands. And do you know what? I always get lots and lots of compliments for the work that I do. Davey Pattison said that he would take me on tour because he liked me so much and he liked the work that I did so much. But again, I still struggle. Going back to my work as a producer, like one of the hardest things I do is send a final mix to people. That is torturous for me. If I don't get an almost immediate response, my brain starts working in overdrive. They hate it. They don't like it. I'm never going to work again. This happens like nearly every time. And the reality is that 9 times out of 10, my clients are delighted with the work. They may have corrections, but they're usually minimal. And then other people that I've collaborated with have also had amazing things to say about me. I was working on a project that was getting mixed by someone who was quite high up in the industry. The fact that he was mixing it and not me was another reason that my brain started working on overdrive. But when I sent the recordings to him, he was delighted. And I actually said something along the lines of, "This is one of the best recordings I've ever had to mix." Why do I hate the work that I do so much? And I think when we're working in a world where there's a lot of big personalities, big egos, let's be honest, like that can be really hard to navigate. And if you're a person that's coming up through this, you might find that hard to navigate too. And I think it's really easy to assume that a person is maybe something that they're not, or something more than you think, or less than you think. I can remember meeting one of my peers, and he had only sort of had experience with me online. And actually, he thought I was a bit arrogant online, and he didn't get a great first impression. So when we met, in person. It was a little bit difficult at first, but we had a few wines. We ended up very, very drunk, holding hands, skipping through the streets, singing, and we had such a laugh, and we've stayed in touch since. But again, despite that, it's still something that dwells on my mind, the perception that people have of me. And this definitely kind of adds up to a lot of anxiety. Now, in the past few years, there's been a lot of things that have kind of happened that, again, have had a massive sort of impact on my confidence. I had a studio, and something happened in 2020 that we all know about, the lockdown, that basically put my career on hold for a long time. And I ended up having to close down the studio that I worked in. That was devastating to me because I felt like I was on a really, really good roll with my studio and with my career, and I was really happy with what I was doing. But the pandemic shutting the world down for 18 months was massive, and it took a long time to recover from that. Now, the result of that is that I ended up starting a relationship with an amazing studio that I have a great working relationship, Post Electric. I've been there for quite a few years, and I've made some incredible records, but also in that time I got unwell. So I have something called hemochromatosis, which is a blood condition, which means that I can't process iron. And when I was diagnosed, I had a massive amount of iron in my system, something like 3,500% more. And you heard that right, 3,500% more iron in my system than I needed. And I was actually being poisoned by that iron. The result of that was there were a lot of physical ailments, but there was a lot of mental ailments as well. I've had horrendous brain fog. I had horrendous anxiety. I couldn't finish sentences. I was an absolute mess, and I ended up being in and out of hospital for about 18 months. So between COVID and getting sick, I lost a significant amount of time in my career, and that really exacerbated my imposter syndrome. And I've been struggling to kind of get back to where I am, but I've still done some amazing stuff. I've been in the studio, I've made some great records that I'm super proud of. As a musician, I've joined a great band. I'm going on tour a lot this year. I'm going to Europe on tour, which is something I've never done. Getting so many compliments. I've made some great records for my own projects as well that I am super, super proud of, but not proud enough to actually stand up and go, hey, look at what it is that I'm doing. So why am I doing this? Why am I talking to you guys about this? Particularly, here's my next thing. I'm on YouTube now, arguably another dumb move from me that is going to really exacerbate my imposter syndrome, because I'm not Ruby, I'm Assad, I'm not Ola England, but I'm doing it because I like doing it, and I think I've got some cool stuff to offer. I just wanted to do this because I think it's going to be good for me, and I also thought it was super brave of Robin from Redolent to do what he did, and it kind of inspired me a little bit. So I wondered, if my lowly 163 subscribers might benefit from knowing that someone who maybe appears on the outside to be successful and doing all these amazing things, I struggle. And do you know what? I think a lot of people out there probably struggle too. So how do I manage this? Well, doing stuff like this is definitely helpful. Taking stock of the work that I've done is definitely helpful. But one of the things that I've really always tried to do is that when I get bouts of this imposter syndrome and I don't think I'm good enough, it makes me work harder. It makes me want to learn more about my crafts. It makes me want to push through my boundaries. It makes me want to come out of my comfort zone and at the other side of it feel better about myself. It's not perfect science, but it works for me sometimes. But if you're a person who's trying to make it in music, trying to make it as a producer, an engineer, whatever, you're not alone. There's loads of us out there, and I think loads of us who are creative people that have mental health issues. Now, imposter syndrome isn't a mental health issue, but anxiety is, and depression is, and imposter syndrome can lead to that. So if you have this, it's okay. And if you need help, it's okay. I'm not good at asking for help. But 2 years ago, I started going to therapy regularly, and that's been hugely beneficial for me. I haven't gone down the route of medication, and I'm not that keen to. I'm not against it in any way, but for me, I'd like to try and manage it myself. but I'm not discounting that as an option. But you're not alone. And I think the thing that I try to think about is that, like, okay, I'm not a Grammy award winning producer, I'm not Slash, I'm not in Guns N' Roses, but I am doing it, and there's a place for me in the world, and there's a place for you in the world as well. Okay, we all work at different levels in the industry, from, you know, really super grassroots right up to the highest tier, and there's a huge amount in between, and we can all find our place in it and be happy with it as well. And we can strive to be better. Of course we can strive to be better, but you can find your place and you can have a lot of fun doing it. It can be super, super rewarding, but just take time to celebrate, okay? Take time to celebrate what it is that you've done. And if you don't feel you've done these things, then try and push through the best you can. It'll happen. Be persistent. Didn't happen for me overnight. And I was very lucky with a lot of opportunities, and there was a lot of in the right place at the right time kind of stuff, but also I worked hard. I have skills, I have talent, and I have people that like it. So thanks for listening to my little cathartic bullshit. I hope that maybe one person out there found it useful. For the rest of you that might be sitting there, like, subscribe, comment, buy me a coffee. Someone did that for the first time last week, by the way, which was so cool. And talk to me in the comments below, because you know what, talking about shit's the way forward. Okay, see you next time.